Good morning. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here in the Sonoran Desert, even though we have an absolutely huge fire not too far away from here. But there's a lot of smoke, so if I start coughing, it's not because I'm running behind the bushes and having a cigarette. It is because there's smoke in abundance. So today's story, I have to preface this because the name is going to be a good one. The name of this story is Honigkuchenpferd. And don't even try to pronounce it unless you speak German or Dutch. The literal translation makes absolutely no sense. Remember, we're talking about a totally different culture here. Honigkuchenpferd. Honigkuchen is a traditional Dutch cake, a honey cake, and oh my God, I love this. It's really good, especially if you can find one with crystallized ginger in it. But either way, I love that stuff. And pferd is a horse. So obviously, a honey cake horse, yeah, no. So the way that it is described when you look at a translation, it says that it is somebody that smiles like a Cheshire cat. There you go. Those of you who really know me know I do a lot of that. I do a lot of smiling. And if some of you have seen previous stories about Johann and I had several run-ins. Johann, for some reason, had singled me out as somebody he didn't like. He would poke me, and he knocked my sandwich out of my hand. And when one of my future friends had an accident, I helped her up. He said, "You'll regret that." But Johann is also the one who got knocked out by a little girl, me. When he got really mean at one point, my dad had taught me left one under the chin, right one on the nose, and I did it. Yeah, and guess what? I knocked out a boy that was quite a bit bigger. So he really didn't like me then, and he gave me the nickname of Honigkuchenpferd because he said, my mother said that there's something really wrong with you because you're always smiling. And my mother is a doctor, and she knows about stuff like that. And she is a really good friend with one of our teachers, and they are going to try to expel you from the school because you're retarded. Because my mother said that only retarded children smile as much as you do. I never said anything to my parents about it, but not too long after that, Mrs. Kartenbrink said to me, "Aranka, here is ein Brief." So she had a letter because obviously, we didn't have a phone. So I brought the letter home, and when my mother read it, she said, "Oh, this is really weird. We're both supposed to come to the school. That's a real problem. We both work." And my father said, "Well, look who signed it. That's the one that doesn't like Aranka. So I wonder what's wrong now. I wonder what she's coming up with now." So anyway, here my poor parents, they had to get permission to get off work. And yes, they came to school, and this was really unbelievable. When they got there was one day after I was finished with school, and they said, "Okay, we have to go to the principal's office, and here's the principal, and then this teacher that didn't like me," and of course I'm on the other side in between my parents. And so Kartenbrink, the teacher, starts it by saying what a problem I am, and how a lot of the children don't like me because I'm so weird, and I come to school with weed in my hair. And my father is like, he's already ready to go for the jugular. I can tell. He's like, and then he said, "Well, I'm sorry, but may I just interject? You know that she likes flowers. We all know that. And she makes these really beautiful wreaths. I mean, have you ever really looked at them? It's very artistic. I mean, she'll take like chamomile flowers which are white with a little bit of yellow, and then she puts blue flowers with it, like cornflowers. And to me, it's a piece of artwork. And it takes her forever. She braids it together, and then she ties it. Yes, and then she puts it on her head. So you call that weeds? I just don't understand. Well, your child is just so disruptive, and we have now discovered a real problem. She stole something. And my father said, stole? Her? Are you? No. I don't care what you think. There's no way she stole anything. She will not even pick an apple off a tree that's hanging over a fence. If somebody is in that garden, she will say, excuse me, there is an apple over here on this branch on your tree. Would it be okay if I took it? This is not a child that steals. Well, we have it on reliable authority that she stole a book out of my classroom. And my father said, okay, let me just take a wild guess. Let me just guess that Johann is the reliable source that told you that it was her. And she said, well, I don't think the issue is who told us. The issue is that she did it. So my father and my mother, they both looked at me and they said, Aranka, did you take that book? And I said, no. You told me stealing is wrong, and no, I did not take anything. I would never do that. So Cottonbrink said, well, that's part of the problem right there. You know, she tells you all this stuff and you believe her. What is wrong with you? What kind of parenting do you actually do? I mean, she needs to be punished. And my father said, yeah, and that'll be over my dead body. She does not lie to us. I know her. And my mother said, yes, excuse me, can I just say something? No. There was one issue when she was a little bit younger where she did not know that she couldn't take buttons. And I explained to her that you cannot do that. And she was just horrified. No, she does not steal. We actually went back and we returned the buttons to my girlfriend's store. And actually, that's going to be another story someday. But this teacher said, no, I don't even know. You people are always gone. You know, I know you both work, and then I guess your mother lives with you, but I know that she always goes places, and she seems to have, a questionable character. Oh, my father. He got up, and he said, and he leaned over the desk, and he said, look here. Don't you say anything about my mother. You are getting off the subject here. You're trying to convince us that she stole something, and I'm telling you right now, no, she did not. She looked at my father and she said, well, we have decided that there is something intrinsically wrong with your daughter. Children don't smile that much, so she must be retarded. And my dad said, oh, great. First she stole something, now you're trying to convince me she's retarded? Have you looked at her report cards lately? Back then, the way that they graded us was 1 through 6. And 1, of course, you know, that was perfect. And every grade I had was either a 1 or a 2, and I think I had a 3 on something. I can't remember what. And my father said, you're grasping at straws. You just don't like her. Admit it, but you're a teacher. You're not going to like every kid unless you're a really good teacher. And then you'll like all children. But I don't even know why you're a teacher. And this conversation is over. I'm not willing to listen to this. And you have no reason to try to tell me that she needs to be put into the institution for the retarded children, because she's not retarded. If anything, she's on the other extreme. And you know what, is she smarter than you? And I mean, it was so insane. I couldn't believe it. My mother kept grabbing my dad's hand and she kept saying, you know, it's okay, you know, just, it's okay, just calm down. You know, in a minute we'll go outside, you can have a cigarette. So my dad just said, okay, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And he said, come on, let's go. So we walked out, and my mother, when we got outside, she started crying. And she said, oh, I wish that the war wouldn't have happened and we were rich, because we could send her to a school in Switzerland. She could be in a private school. And instead we have to deal with this. And my dad said, well, there's nothing we can do about it. But you know what? I want you to go home. I'm going to take a walk with the little one. So he took my hand, and where it was, where we should have turned to go to our little cottage, my dad said, come on, we're going to go for a nice walk. And so we walked up by the river, because there was an area where the river got a lot higher, and it was really fun. You could see where they had to fill the water so the boats could go up. And then, but anyway, so we walked way, way out there, and he said, okay, come here, we're going to sit here. I'm going to talk to you about something. And he said, you must have figured out by now, you know, you're different. You are not like those other kids. And that's not wrong. It's just different. You like different things. I know you talk to flowers. I know you talk to animals. I know you talk to trees. None of these other kids do that, and that's fine, because we're all different. And you need to feel comfortable in being different. Don't try to be like those other kids. You're not. And if you try to make yourself be like that, you'll always be unhappy. So just be happy that you can appreciate the plants the way you do. And you really are always going to be different. So just listen to your heart. Sit down somewhere, close your eyes, and try to see what you really want to do. And then don't listen to anybody else. Never, 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 ever. And I said, really? Even you? And my father said, yes, even me. You can listen, but you need to decide what you want to do. You need to go way down into your heart. And then you need to say, okay, what do you think I should do? What is best? And that's what you follow, because always you make the decisions. And if later you find out, oh my God, that was wrong, you're the one who did it. You don't have anybody else to blame. You can't say, but you told me to do. He said, you don't live your life like that. You always decide what you want. And if you do something and it backfires, okay, you learned that that was wrong. That's it. So just always be true to yourself. Well, he taught me that. And guess what? I listened. This backfired on him in a grand way. When I was 15, I ran away from home. I was not happy in northern Germany. And 3 years later, I emigrated to the United States on my own. My father did not know that I was running away at 15. My mother didn't know. I told my French grandmother, and she went, oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu. This is good. That's a good mon Dieu. Don't tell your mother. If you tell your mother, she'll tell your dad. He'll tie you to the bed until you're 25. No, just go away, go away, go, go, go. So he never talked to me after I was 15. So when I was 18, my mother signed my immigration papers, and that's when he told somebody asked him about, how is your daughter? And he said, daughter? I used to have a daughter, but she died. And of course, for many years, I felt very guilty about that. But I came to grips with it. He taught me to be independent. He taught me to listen to myself, and I did. He just didn't think I would take that literally. But anyway, we had a wonderful talk, and he just said, look, that woman doesn't like you, and I know why she doesn't like you. Because you're very independent, even though you're still a little person. You don't really like authority. You don't like it when somebody tells you something, right? And he said, like me. Like when I tell you to do something, you do it, but you don't really like it, right? And I said, well, yeah, not really. And he said, well, she's smart enough to know that you're not a follower. You're not just going to do something just because she told you. You question it, don't you? Don't you say, oh, excuse me, but why do I have to do it that way? She said she doesn't like that. She doesn't want you to question her. You're just supposed to do it. And because you don't, that's very upsetting to her. So she has decided that she doesn't like you. And it's okay. Just continue to be the way you are, because you have to be happy with yourself. You cannot make everybody around you happy. It's nice if you can, but the main thing is you're true to yourself and you're happy and you do the right thing. So he said, you just continue to be the way you are, and I'm proud of you, and I know you didn't steal anything. I know you. And he just hugged me and he said, we're so lucky to have you. And he always used to pat me on my head and he said, oops, there's flowers in the way. Let me see. Okay, I'll kiss you right here. And he said, okay, let's go home and let's bake a cake and celebrate. And I said, okay, I would like that. So that was it. And my story is called Honigkuchenpferd. Thank you. You stay safe.